screaming. They won it by 4 in the end.
American Anthem has taken off. American Anthem easily in the Woody Stevens.
Hi everybody and welcome to Spa Babies, presented by WinStar Farm. I'm Dan Illman along with Nicole Russo, and Wednesday's Spa Baby race is the finale. Let's take a look at the field for race number 10. We're going 5.5 furlongs on the turf. It is a New York bred maiden special weight. Nicole, it's an overflow field, should be a fantastic betting race, and if you're playing into the late pick 4, you're betting blind.
Yeah, definitely. It's such a big field. These 2-year-old fillies, a lot of them trying the turf for the first time. Most of them in this field are first-time starters, and if you get alive to this leg, it's probably a race to go deep in, I think.
We'll take this field in post-position order from a pedigree standpoint, beginning down towards the rail with the number 2, Carrera Cat. And if you look at this pedigree, you immediately think turf.
Yeah, definitely. Carrera Cat, 1 of 2 in this field by Courageous Cat, a Grade 1 winning turf miler, now standing in New York. The dam is out of the Grade 3 winner Classic Value, dam of multiple graded winner Class Chris, Grade 1 winner Student Council, a ton of turf and synthetic form in this pedigree.
And while Carrera Cat is a half-sister to a debut winner in the multiple stakes winning Dirt Runner Quality Lane, Courageous Cat's get seems to do better with a little bit more experience and distance. He's only clicking right now at 3% with his 2-year-old first-time starters. This one is saddled towards the inside for trainer John Morrison. The number 3 is Silverado Mist. Let's talk about the first crop sire, the good turf horse Data Link.
Yeah, Data Link is by Warfront, himself a very good juvenile and turf sire. And Data Link, who had a pretty nice turn of foot, is living up to that, form, definitely. I think he's injecting a little bit of speed into these horses as well. He's already come out running with some nice 2-year-olds. And this one, Silverado Mist, turf top and bottom out of a Learfan mare.
He already has 1 2-year-old debut winner, does Data Link. Silverado Mist sold for $10,000 as a weanling. Bought back the following season for the same price. $40,000 April 2-year-old this year, going out for the great trainer Bill Mott. Mott's horses usually do better with a race or two. But as Nicole mentioned, Silverado Mist has a ton of turf pedigree. The number 4 is Codrington. This is the other filly in the field by Courageous Cat. She's got racing experience. They ran her on the dirt. I'm not going to hold that 8th place finish against her.
Yeah, I think this one will definitely move up on the turf, being by Courageous Cat and out of a mare who was minor stakes placed on the turf, 8th in her debut on the dirt. I think she's getting on her preferred surface, and now it starts to become a question of class.
She's a half to 1 turf winner. The dam was stakes placed on the turf at 2. $9,500 buyback as a yearling. Codrington, I agree, should do better with the surface switch. The number 5, and arguably the horse to beat, is Imperfect Union, who has already raced once on turf and ran very well for trainer Tom Morley. And as we've talked about this summer already on Spa Babies, presented by WinStar Farm, Morley's second-time starters do very well. A $25,000 yearling, Imperfect Union, showed good speed in her debut, and these Bluegrass Cats, they're good at 2.
Yeah, they really are. He's already had 2-year-old graded winners like Saber Cat, Kathman Blue. He's a very solid 2-year-old sire. The dam was stakes placed at Finger Lakes. She's a half to 2 New York bred stakes winners. This is a productive family on this circuit. And yeah, Imperfect Union, I really liked her debut. She was a solid 4th on the Belmont turf, going slightly longer, showed some speed, is decently drawn here to work out a similar trip, and gets a big rider upgrade to Javier Castellano.
Important perhaps that Javier's taking this mount. We'll discuss the Todd Pletcher trained entrant a little bit later on. You would think that maybe Javier would gravitate there instead to the 5, Imperfect Union, 3-1 on the morning line. The number 6, Unparalleled, is by Line of David, who already has a classic placed runner.
Yeah, his best runner has definitely been Firing Line, Grade 3 winner, who of course went on to finish 2nd to American Pharoah in the Kentucky Derby. Line of David himself, winner of the Arkansas Derby. This is, I think, a little bit of a distance family there. The dam of this one, placed on turf, has 3 winners from 4 starters, and all 3 of those winners have won on turf or synthetic. The dam's a half to a Grade 1 winning juvenile, and it's the extended family of champion Devona Dale. A little bit of a mixed bag in this family, I think, but I think this is a filly that's probably worth trying on turf at least.
Line of David only 2% with first turf runners, but you mentioned the dam's success with prior foals on the turf. Trainer Bruce Brown, not known for winning first time out. We have a formulator fact over the past 5 years with 2-year-olds on turf. Brown is 0 for 48, but it looks like that Unparalleled is slowly picking up the pace in her morning workouts. The number 7 is March Express. It's Todd Pletcher. You must always beware any Pletcher firster at NYRA, especially at Saratoga, and this one's by the good 2-year-old Shanghai Bobby.
Yeah, Shanghai Bobby himself, a juvenile champion, of course, one of this year's most well-regarded freshman sires. He's starting to heat up with several winners now from his first crop. Shanghai Bobby never ran on turf, but his sire, Harlan's Holiday, is a versatile sort. He's the sire also of Into Mischief, who did his best work on synthetic and is the sire of some good turf runners. And Harlan's Holiday's son, Good Samaritan, upset winner of the Jim Dandy, now a Grade 2 winner on both turf and dirt. So I think the Shanghai Bobbies will probably have some versatility. This one's out of an Indian Charlie mare who is a debut winner going 4 furlongs at 2 stakes placed later on in her 2-year-old year. And maybe more importantly, the dam of Harlan's Honor, who was a stakes winner sprinting on turf as a juvenile.
We expect the Shanghai Bobbies to be as precocious as he was, and you mentioned a lot of speed, some turf ability on the bottom of this pedigree. You get Pletcher. She sold for an okay price for a New York bred at $90,000 as a yearling. I think you have to respect the number 7, March Express. The number 8 is That's Her, 9-2 on the morning line for trainer Russell Cash, who already has a winner at this summer's Saratoga meeting. That's Her is by Daher, and let's talk a little bit about Daher, because I was pleasantly surprised to see that he's connecting with 21% of his 2-year-old first-time starters. He struggled a little bit with the turf. Do you think Daher can be a useful turf stallion?
I think that he can, depending on the female family that he's crossed with. This one definitely has the female ability to back up Daher. This filly a half to the dam of Secured Position, who was stakes placed sprinting on the Monmouth turf as a juvenile. And Daher, a Grade 1 winning miler on the dirt. So perhaps he's injecting a little bit of that brilliance into his foals, connecting so well with those 2-year-olds.
There are a lot of dirt horses in the immediate family, but when you go all the way back, there are some nice international runners. I'm really interested to see what we get from the 8 That's Her, 9-2 on the morning line. I think the number 9 Purely Lucky is a nice pedigree to be sure. Lots of speed, class, and turf ability.
Yeah, definitely. She's a half to a bunch of stakes horses, including turf stakes winners like Manhattan Dan, who's a stakes winner sprinting on turf and was multiple graded placed as a 2-year-old. Lots of speed and class further back in the family. This is the family of Grade 1 winner Indian Charlie, himself out of a graded winning 2-year-old mare, Soviet Sohern. This one, Purely Lucky, by Looking at Lucky. Grandsire Smart Strike probably doesn't hurt the turf ability. This is a really interesting page.
That Manhattan Dan, her half-brother, was a very, very fast horse, and if Purely Lucky inherits a smidgen of his ability and talent, she's going to really take to the surface and conditions of this race. Plus, she's got a great trainer in her corner. Brad Cox, perhaps a little bit underrated in terms of first-time starters. He seems he wins with everything else, but as we see from our formulator fact, over the past 2 years, with 2-year-old first-time starters on turf, Brad Cox is winning 9 for 22. That's 41% and a big ROI of almost $5. Purely Lucky attracts Florent Giroux, 7-2 on the morning line. The number 10 is New Pass, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how the point of entries do. He was one of my favorite runners, just that classic Phipps pedigree, long-winded on the turf. Do you think he can get early types that can win going 5.5 at the Spa?
Well, I think he's definitely had some early winners already. He's got 3 winners from his first crop out there, including a stakes winner up at Woodbine on the all-weather surface. I do have to think that they'll be better going longer as we get into some of these two-turn turf races for 2-year-olds later on in the year. I mean, what a long-winded, hard-knocking turf horse he was. So classy. But, you know, the class is coming through early. They are winning early, and this one from a nice turf female family as well.
She's a half-sister to 55, who won the Florida Oaks on the turf, and 55 started her career for this trainer, Tom Bush. Ran very well in her career debut, had a little bit of trouble, and that's what got her beat. 55 now with Chad Brown. New pass at 12-1 on the morning line. I really like this pedigree, and if she can show a little bit of speed in here, might be a price play worth considering the pick 4 at the very least. It wouldn't be Spa Babies presented by WinStar Farm without Reyana, Reya Dreams. The number 1. This has got to be the 3rd time we've covered Reyana, Reya Dreams, but let's be honest, this surface is probably what she wants.
Yeah, definitely. I think they're trying something new that'll be to her benefit. She was 7th on debut at Belmont, 5th last out, beaten almost 21 lengths in the maiden, won very impressively by Trouble for Skylar, both of those on dirt. She's out of a mare who was a stakes winner routing on turf. Combine that with Sire Yes It's True, adding some speed and brilliance to the pedigree. I do think she's getting a better trip here. Let's see if she can move forward.
Yeah, $30,000 a 2-year-old purchase, Reyana, Reya Dreams, but really bred more for the turf. And she has some experience racing twice without much success on the main track. Okay, intriguing race. You probably want to spread a little bit because we won't have access to tote board information as it pertains to the pick 4. Where are you leaning?
I think I'm definitely leaning toward Imperfect Union back there for the Morley barn. Looks really well poised to move forward off that good debut. I like the rider upgrade that we discussed to Javier Castellano. I really think she'll give a good account of herself. I'm intrigued by Purely Lucky. I think that's a terrific pedigree from the very good Brad Cox barn. New Pass, if she can show a little bit of speed or get a little bit of something to run at, I think she's the sort to look at in exotics. I think she ultimately might want to go a little longer, but I think this is going to be a nice filly. March Express, she's got a recent work that gives me a little bit of cause for pause. Our ace clockers, Mike Welsh and Mike Vesey, whose clocker reports are available every day of the Saratoga meet, just giving her a C rating for her most recent work coming into debut. But, you know, even with that work giving me pause, coming from the Pletcher barn, I think it's probably a mistake to throw her out entirely, especially with the interesting pedigree for this trip.
I agree. I think you have to use that horse. Imperfect Union, as you mentioned, is the horse to beat because of her good prior race on the turf. But the 3 horses I'm going to concentrate on from a pick 4 standpoint, the 7 March Express, and again, that Welsh Vesey clocker report is absolutely fantastic. It is must use for any 2-year-old race, any race really at Saratoga. I'll use March Express, I'll use the 9 Purely Lucky, and I'll also use the 10 New Pass. I really like the pedigrees of those 3 runners. We'll be back later this week for more Spa Babies presented by WinStar Farm.